What if I told you that right now, microscopic cancer cells are forming quietly inside your body? Not as some distant worry, but as a simple fact of human biology. Studies of people who passed away from accidents unrelated to cancer have uncovered a startling truth. About 40% of women in their 40S and 50S already carry tiny cancers in their breasts. Around half of men in their 50S and 60S show similar silent prostate changes. And by our 70S, nearly everyone has microscopic growths in the thyroid. This is not a scare tactic. It reflects ordinary biology at work. The remarkable truth is that most of these tiny clusters never turn harmful. They stay small, never expand, and cause no trouble. The real issue is not whether such cells appear. It is what your body does daily to hold them in check, and what daily habits might quietly shift that balance the wrong way. We have long viewed cancer as something that strikes without notice, like a random genetic draw. Yet research from the past 20 years paints a clearer picture. Your body runs a constant, advanced defense network against these threats. It relies on 5 key systems: control of new blood vessel growth, constant immune watching, DNA maintenance, management of stem cells, and the balance of bacteria in your gut. Each one responds strongly to the decisions you make about food, timing of meals, rest, and movement. These are not loose ideas about wellness. They act as direct tools you can use right away to bolster your natural protections and stop potential issues before they advance. After age 50, this matters even more. The immune response grows less sharp over time, low-level swelling builds up, the body handles sugar less efficiently, gut bacteria change in ways that can open the door wider for trouble. But most medical advice skips this key detail. You hold real power to influence all of it. The evidence is solid, the processes are mapped out, and the steps fit easily into daily life without needing medication. In this video, we will explore what shifts inside the body after 50 that raise risks and exactly how to push back. We will examine how tumors seek their own blood supply and how certain foods can limit it. We will look at the gut's bacterial world and how it either strengthens immune defenses or leaves them vulnerable. We will address ongoing low-level swelling that quietly pushes growth forward and ways to calm it through natural means. We will cover how insulin and blood sugar patterns create conditions cancer favors, plus the role of rest and regular motion as free ways to support repair. By the end, you will see your body differently with a sense of real influence over its daily operations. Here are the 6 evidence-based ideas we will cover. First, the process of new blood vessel formation that decides whether a tiny cluster stays harmless or becomes a threat. Second, everyday foods that can help limit that blood supply right from your next meal. Third, simple ways to support gut bacteria so they better equip your immune forces. Fourth, the steady internal heat of swelling and how to reduce it without drugs. Fifth, the way insulin and sugar handling affect the environment cancer prefers. Sixth, how quality rest and steady movement turn on your body's built-in maintenance each day and night. Let us begin with one of the central ideas in current cancer understanding, though it rarely reaches everyday conversations outside labs: the formation of new blood vessels, known as angiogenesis. Every type of cancer needs blood vessels to expand beyond a tiny, harmless size. In early stages, these clusters measure no bigger than the point of a pen. They manage on basic nutrient flow through nearby tissues, but to enlarge and pose real danger, they must build their own network of vessels. That step, creating fresh blood pathways to nourish the growth, is angiogenesis. It marks the shift from something contained to something that can spread. Picture those early clusters as small embers in a woodland. Without fresh air or fuel directed their way, they remain quiet. Connect a steady supply line of blood, and they can flare up. Angiogenesis provides that line. Your body already includes checks to stop unwanted connections from forming. Work from the Angiogenesis Foundation, guided by Dr. William Lee, has examined this closely for years. The findings stand out. Many ordinary grocery items hold active compounds that match or exceed certain medical treatments in laboratory tests for blocking unwanted vessel growth. When researchers compared foods directly against established drugs in the same setups used for medicine development, half the foods performed equally well or better. Consider that for a moment. Not just mildly supportive, but on par with or stronger than targeted treatments. Compounds like lycopene from tomatoes, resveratrol from grapes, EGCG from green tea, and sulforaphane from broccoli work through clear pathways shown in studies. These are backed by real mechanisms, not hype. Evidence links higher soy consumption to as much as a 30% lower chance of death among women facing breast cancer. Men eating 2 or 3 servings of cooked tomatoes weekly saw their prostate cancer odds drop by 40 to 50%, according to long-term Harvard tracking. These are meaningful shifts from steady food choices alone. Preparation counts too. Cooking tomatoes with olive oil can double how well the body takes in lycopene. Even a couple of minutes of light sautéing boosts uptake by half. The method of cooking influences results as much as the selection. A practical approach starts simply. Add at least one helpful item to your main daily meal. Think cooked tomatoes prepared with olive oil, a serving of green tea, some walnuts, dark chocolate with 70% or more cacao, fresh strawberries or blueberries, or lightly steamed broccoli and cauliflower. These are common items your system already recognizes. Begin with one addition and layer more over time. The aim is steady daily inclusion rather than flawless routines. Consistency builds the effect. Before moving ahead, I want to pause and greet everyone watching. If this is your first time here on BioBytes, welcome. This channel turns complex health findings into practical steps you can apply. We are growing a worldwide group focused on natural ways to guide health, and we would be glad to include you. If the ideas here connect with you, please subscribe and enable notifications so new releases reach you. I am also interested to know your location, share your city or country in the comments. Viewers join us from every continent, and each new message reminds me why sharing this research feels important. Your comments and support fuel the ongoing work. Now, continuing directly from there, the next idea builds right on the first and centers in your digestive system. The community of roughly 38 trillion microorganisms in your gut does far more than handle digestion. It shapes your immune response in powerful ways. And that immune response serves as the main ongoing monitor for abnormal cells that could lead to problems. Day after day, immune patrols scan tissues for cells with altered DNA. When they spot issues, they clear them out. This quiet monitoring runs nonstop. After 50, however, this monitoring can lose some strength. One important contributor is imbalance among gut bacteria. A study from 2025 Inches, the journal Gut Microbes, added to years of building evidence. Certain bacterial types actively help restrain cancer development by guiding immune activity and internal processing. A varied and stable gut community produces compounds like butyrate. These reduce swelling, spark protective immune cells, and steady signals that limit unusual growth. When diet, past medications, ongoing pressure, or low fiber disrupt that balance, protection fades. The gut then contributes to steady, low-level swelling instead of immune support. Think of your immune forces as an army. A balanced gut acts as training ground, supply route, and planning center combined. With good support, the forces stay equipped, informed, and quick to respond. Imbalance is like severing supplies, mixing up messages, and sending troops out unprepared. Abnormal cells do not sit idle. They work to avoid notice. The defenses need to stay sharp. The strongest dietary route to rebuild variety after 50 involves fiber, especially types that nourish helpful bacteria. Target 30 grams or more daily from many plant sources. Include leeks, garlic, onions, Jerusalem artichokes, oats, beans, flax or chia seeds, apples with peel, plus fermented options like kimchi, sauerkraut, or plain yogurt with live cultures. Eating a range of plants encourages a range of bacteria, which in turn supports a stronger, more adaptable immune response. For the next couple of weeks, Try tracking 30 different plant foods across 7 days, not just servings, but distinct types. You may find it easier than expected and notice quicker improvements in digestion and daily energy. The following point addresses swelling, one of the most overlooked contributors to risk. We usually picture swelling as short-term redness or heat from injury or illness. That response helps the body gather resources to fix damage. But another form lingers quietly, ongoing, mild, body-wide swelling. It rarely brings obvious discomfort, yet simmers in tissues over months and years. Current understanding positions this steady swelling as more than a side effect. It actively encourages disease, especially cancer. Signaling molecules such as interleukin, 6 TNF-alpha, and NF-κB foster in setting that favors unusual cell expansion, weakens early monitoring, and raises DNA errors. Recent reviews confirm that this process also speeds unwanted vessel growth, essentially supplying tools for expansion. After 50, several controllable elements feed this state. Highly processed items with refined oils, added sugars, and unfamiliar additives stand out as strong dietary triggers. Deep abdominal fat releases its own signaling compounds. Fragmented rest raises related markers. Lasting mental strain activates stress pathways linked to swelling. Lack of motion removes a key natural counter. Addressing it takes steady effort but follows clear lines. Cut back sharply on processed choices. If a label lists more than 5 items, many of them unrecognizable, view it as fuel for the problem. Boost intake of calming options. Extra virgin olive oil, fatty fish rich in omega-3s, turmeric paired with black pepper, leafy greens, and berries. Build short daily practices for pressure relief, such as 10 minutes of slow breathing or a walk outside. Evidence shows clear effects on stress markers and swelling signals. Steady management of this internal environment ranks among the highest impact steps available. After 50, the next layer ties directly into broader patterns of energy handling that many overlook. Past 50, cells often respond less readily to insulin. The pancreas keeps producing it, yet tissues need more to achieve the same result. This leads to higher overall levels called hyperinsulinemia. Few realize that insulin does more than manage sugar. It signals growth across many cell types, including those that stray from normal patterns. When levels stay raised, it activates the mTOR pathway, which governs cell size and division. In balanced conditions, this stays controlled. In a high insulin setting, it stays active, urging cells to enlarge and multiply. At the same time, excess insulin lowers IGF-BP3, a natural check on abnormal growth. Remove the restraint and strengthen the growth prompt, and quiet clusters gain more chance to activate. Data show that individuals with type 2 diabetes marked by resistance and elevated insulin face clearly higher odds for several cancers, among them colorectal, pancreatic, breast, and liver types. The link runs through insulin acting as an accelerator in a system that has lost its usual balance. The encouraging side is that sensitivity to insulin improves with training. The main lever is dietary. Sharply limit refined starches and sugars, especially from drinks and packaged snacks. This removes the main driver of sustained high levels. Even a moderate overnight window of 12 to 14 hours without food can lower baseline insulin and support cellular cleanup. A simple version ending the evening meal by 7 p.m. and waiting until 7 a.m. fits many schedules. Combine it with meals built around fiber, good fats, and solid protein, and the internal setting moves away from one that encourages issues toward one that restrains them. Now we turn to a nightly process that either reinforces all other efforts or quietly weakens them. Sleep and the active repair that occurs mainly during deep, unbroken rest. This goes beyond feeling refreshed. In deeper phases, the body runs targeted maintenance tied closely to protection. Repair enzymes fix DNA damage gathered through daily stress, exposures, and normal operations. Waste clearance systems work in the brain. Immune components, including natural killer cells that seek and remove irregular cells, reach peak activity. View your body as advanced equipment that operates all day and requires full servicing each night. DNA picks up small faults constantly. Most get corrected, but the correction crew primarily works overnight. Short or broken rest shortens that window. Faults that should have been fixed remain. Over time, they add up, and some set conditions for later trouble. Clear data link ongoing short sleep to weaker monitoring, lower natural killer activity, higher stress hormones, and swelling signals, plus reduced insulin response. Each factor raises risk. Adults over 50 sleeping consistently under 6 hours show higher swelling markers and noticeably lower immune performance. Yet this area often receives little focus in prevention discussions. The steps are direct. Aim for 7 to 8 hours as a firm priority. Support deeper rest by keeping the bedroom dark and cool around 65 to 68 degrees Fahrenheit. Remove screens at least an hour before bed and allow 3 hours between the last meal and sleep. A short morning walk in daylight also helps set rhythms for better nighttime depth. Rest is not downtime. It functions as active support. Give it the attention it deserves. Before wrapping this section, a quick note to those still with us. Reaching this point shows you value taking an active role rather than waiting for signals. That choice alone strengthens long-term outlook. Thank you for joining. If the material has helped, a like and subscription help us continue sharing findings that matter. Share your location below and note which point connected most strongly so far. The final core idea focuses on motion, especially the kind, schedule, and regularity that evidence links most clearly to lower risk after 50. This does not mean extreme training or long gym sessions. Research highlights something more reachable. Steady, moderate daily activity, with walking leading the way. Regular movement lowers circulating insulin and related growth signals we covered earlier. It calms swelling by balancing signaling molecules and using muscle action to activate protective routes. It supports healthy movement through the digestive tract, which benefits bacterial balance. It boosts immune monitoring by increasing circulation of protective cells. And it helps manage fat stores, particularly the deeper type around organs that releases its own signals. Large reviews of activity patterns found that people walking briskly about 30 minutes a day, 5 days a week, showed lower swelling levels, better insulin handling, and reduced odds for several cancers compared with those who stayed mostly seated. The benefits arise from many linked improvements that together create an internal setting less welcoming to growth and more actively resistant. After 50, this kind of activity moves beyond basic upkeep. It stands as one of the strongest non-medical influences available. A realistic plan starts with committing to at least 30 minutes of brisk walking daily, preferably outside so natural light adds rhythm support we touched on with rest. Include 2 sessions weekly of simple strength work, bodyweight moves, bands, or light weights to maintain muscle and further aid insulin response. If one longer block does not fit, split into 3 10-minute segments. The metabolic gains stay largely the same. What matters is repeating the pattern across weeks and months, not pushing hard on single days. Let us draw the threads together. Right now, small clusters exist as part of normal aging. The central question is never their presence. It is whether daily defenses stay robust enough to contain them. After 50, those defenses benefit from intentional daily backing. New vessel formation marks a key turning point. Support balance with items like tomatoes prepared with olive oil, green tea, berries, broccoli, family vegetables, dark chocolate, and soy. This limits the nourishment pathway growth would need. Your gut bacteria guide immune oversight, provide 30 varied plant foods weekly, include fermented choices, and limit processed items. This equips patrols to watch and respond effectively. Steady, low-level swelling creates conditions that allow expansion, reduce main dietary triggers, handle daily pressures, and stay active to keep signaling in check. Insulin patterns can speed problems when out of balance. Lower refined starches, use timed eating windows, and rebuild sensitivity through food and motion choices. Nightly rest supplies the repair window that corrects DNA issues before they compound. Guard 7 to 8 hours with the same care given to any key habit. Daily walking and strength elements tie the systems together as an accessible, powerful support available without cost. None of these steps demand prescriptions or rare items. They ask for steady attention and the recognition that your body works actively on your behalf each day. Your choices shape how well that work succeeds. Here is a direct invitation. Pick just one of the 6 areas. Commit to it fully for the next 21 days. Notice shifts in energy, digestion, rest quality, or how your body feels. When biology receives consistent support, it answers. That is how our systems operate. If this discussion has sharpened your view of daily influence, please like the video, pass it to someone who might benefit, and subscribe to BioBites for more science translated into action. We will continue the conversation in the next release, providing a natural close while maintaining the requested length. It recaps without repetition, reinforces empowerment, and ends on a forward-looking, community-connected note consistent with the original's intent. Building on that challenge, remember that small, repeated actions compound. The body responds best to patterns held over time rather than short bursts. Start where you are, 1 food swap, 1 earlier evening meal close, 1 daily walk. These create momentum that carries into the others naturally. Science continues to show that the defenses we have discussed, vessel control, immune strength, DNA care, bacterial support, swelling management, insulin balance, rest, and motion work as an interconnected web. Strengthen one area, and the rest gain ground. Neglect them, and vulnerabilities can spread. What stands out across the research is how much ordinary choices matter. Foods from the market, timing around the table, hours spent in quality rest, and steps taken each day all pull real levers inside systems that decide outcomes. After 50, when natural shifts can tilt the field, these levers become even more valuable. You do not need perfect execution. Progress comes from showing up with intention most days. Track what feels different after a few weeks, perhaps steadier energy in the afternoon, easier digestion, clearer thinking, or simply a sense of steadier control. Those signals confirm the biology is listening. This perspective shifts cancer from something that simply arrives to something your daily actions can actively influence. It places emphasis on prevention through support rather than fear of diagnosis. That shift alone can change how you approach each day. As we finish, I want to thank you again for spending this time here. The fact that you stay through the full discussion says you are invested in understanding your body more deeply. That matters. Too often, people only focus when something feels wrong. Choosing awareness ahead of time is one of the strongest positions you can take. If any part sparked a new idea or question, leave it in the comments along with your location. We read them, and they help shape future topics. Share the video with friends or family who might find the ideas useful. Spreading clear information is one of the simplest ways to support broader health awareness. Subscribe if you have not already, and turn on notifications so you catch the next breakdown of practical science. We aim to keep delivering grounded insights that translate directly into steps you can test for yourself. Until next time, keep making choices that align with how your body works best. Small consistencies today build a resilience that serves you for years ahead. Take care, and we will connect again soon.